The Premier of Victoria, Daniel Andrews, has just increased taxes on electric cars and plug-in hybrids here in Victoria. And frankly, that combined with the fact that people who buy BYDs are not going to get the $4,000 rebate in Victoria for EV purchases means that I'm fed up with this Labor government making claims to be pro-EV when in fact, in reality, it's anything but. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. As you can see, not my usual happy self today. Just saw the news. Frankly, I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm extremely disappointed. Now, the Labor government here in Victoria claims it's pro-electric car, claims it's all in on EVs. Frankly, I'm sorry, but the facts prove that this is just a lie. It is. There's no other way to put this. This system is even worse if you own a plug-in hybrid. I'm going to get to why that's the case. If you own a plug-in hybrid, you're being taxed twice. One on the fuel itself, and then again for just owning one. And frankly, this, in my view, is an absolute joke. In Victoria, right now, we pay a tax simply to own an electric vehicle. Now, it's been 12 months since the Victorian government implemented its very controversial zero and low emission vehicle road user charge, which is just a nice way to say a tax on electric cars and plug-in hybrid vehicles. For the new financial year, it has now upped that rate by 1%. Or 0.1 cents per kilometre. Now, this isn't in line with inflation or anything else, because it stays in line with inflation no matter what you do. They just up the rate because they can, and because they hope that no one would notice. But yeah, we are noticing. The July 1 tax increase means owners of electric vehicles and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles and plug-in hybrids. The July 1 tax increase means that owners of electric cars and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, not that anyone owns those other than a couple by the state government, which don't drive anywhere, who previously paid 2.5 cents per kilometre, are now required to pay 2.6 cents per kilometre. Now, my question is, are they just going to keep increasing the rate? It looks like they're just going to increase it every single year and just hope that no one notices. This is crazy. They already introduced this tax on EVs. Now they're increasing the amount of the tax. I mean, when does it end? Meanwhile, owners of plug-in hybrids who previously paid 2 cents per kilometre are now required to pay 2.1 cents per kilometre on top of fuel excise from whenever you top up the tank. So what that means, if you drive a plug-in hybrid, unfortunately, most people who drive plug-in hybrids, they do a lot of driving using the petrol part of the car. Apparently, in surveys that have been seen in many countries around the world, a lot of people who own them, they often don't use the batteries. They forget to plug them in, or they're too lazy, or whatever. It doesn't seem hard to have an extension lead out to your car, in my opinion, but apparently that's what they do. So what it means is for those people who are filling their cars up with petrol, gas, they pay a tax on petrol. So here in Australia, we pay a tax on gasoline. Then they're paying an additional tax simply for driving the car. Then, of course, we are one of the most taxed countries in the world. We have some of the highest tax rates in the world. So these kinds of taxes upon taxes upon taxes, it just seems like, to me, it's becoming a bit of a joke. This now means an EV owner who does 15,000 kilometres per year, not a very big distance, what's that, about 9,000 miles, will be charged $390 on top of their annual registration fee, which is about $800, and a plug-in hybrid owner who travels 15,000 kilometres per year will now be charged $315. Now, obviously, if you travel double that distance, which a lot of people do, even more than that, some people, then you'd be charged around about $700, $680. So hypothetically, you would now pay $15 more per year to simply own an EV than what you would the previous year. But if you do more kilometres than 15,000, which a lot of people do, well, you more than the extra $15 per year. So what do they do again? Next year, up it again, up it again. It seems like there's just no end in sight for these taxes for electric cars coming from the Victorian Labor government, who say they're pro-EV. That's the thing. They're claiming we're all pro-EV, we love EVs, yeah. Well, does it look like they really do? CarExpert.com.au says plug-in hybrid owners also have to currently pay 22.1 cents per litre fuel excise rate because of the internal combustion engine in the car. This fuel excise rate is set to return to 44.2 cents per litre on September the 28th. So here in Australia, we pay 44 cents per litre in taxes per litre of gasoline. Personally, I don't really care about that, whatever. I mean, frankly, I care more about the fact that we're taxing clean air. We're taxing clean energy. We're taxing the future. We're trying to say, you know what? We as a country, we as a state here in Victoria, don't want that. We don't want clean energy. We don't want clean air. That's essentially what we're doing. Really, when a new technology comes out, you've got to support that technology. Sure, if they want to tax it in 10 years' time from now, when the majority of people have started to adopt EVs, then I understand. But doing it now, when we're trying to get the new electric revolution started and really roaring into gear here in Australia, well, that's like saying, no, we don't want that. We don't want that to happen here in our country. VicRoads, who collect the money on behalf of the Victorian government, has said the increase in the ZLEV road user charge is in line with other government indexed fees and charges which come into effect on July the 1st each year. So they're saying that they're increasing all fees now by a certain percentage. And so, well, tough luck, we're going to do that with this one as well. As previously noted, this means that these charges aren't expected to stay static and may change each financial year depending on the indexation rate. So how are they actually going to enforce this? Well, when requested, EV owners will be required to provide a photo of their vehicle's odometer within 14 days. So basically they're going to, force this by making you provide them with a photo with evidence of the actual distance you have traveled. And then of course, if you sold it and the distance that you've reported on is different to the odometer when you sell it, then you'd be charged them. Probably some sort of additional fee for lying as well, I imagine. So you have to pay it. You don't have a choice. You can't get out of it. If you fail to declare your odometer reading after the 14 days, this will result in an automatic pro rata invoice based on a yearly travelled estimate of 13,500 kilometres or a penalty process that may lead to registration suspension or cancellation, or even license cancellation. Now, there are other states in Australia saying that they're going to do a similar thing, right? New South Wales, South Australia, and Western Australia say they'll launch a new road user tax on low and zero emission cars to make up for lost fuel excise tax. So in other words, because EVs are not paying this ridiculous 44, well, not ridiculous, probably a good thing, this 44 cents per litre in tax, therefore the government needs to tax you in another way to make up for the revenue they're losing, right? Yeah, anyway. So they're going to do this by forcing you to tell them your odometer. However, New South Wales, South Australia, and Western Australia say they're not going to do this until 2027. That, of course, is 5 years away, by which point I think the majority of Australians will have no interest in internal combustion engine vehicles, and particularly for new vehicle purchases. People will be just going, yeah, that's ancient technology. That's just like buying an ancient Nokia mobile phone that's not a smartphone. They're going to have lost interest by then. So I think I'm okay with that. 2027, they want to do it in 2027. Okay. Doing it now, in my view, is insane. And it absolutely proves categorically that the Labor government in Victoria does not support EVs. They're very aware of the fact as well that thanks to their restrictions in the way they provide their actual electric car tax incentive of $4,000, by the way, that's capped to a certain number of people, that's going to expire soon, means that you cannot use the electric car tax incentive to buy a BYD car. Of course, what does that mean? The government keeps the money. Now, actually doing the numbers on this, I realized that this is a 4% increase on the previous tax. If you increase this, say, by 4% for the next 4 years, where would we be? That would be an astronomical increase. So it's actually a lot worse than it looks. Personally, I believe that we shouldn't support the government. I don't know what we have to do, whether that's vote for a different party, vote for independent party. I don't know. Someone please, let's work this out. Someone in the comment section, comment below, message me, get in contact on the group page, on the Facebook group page. Let me know what you think about this. Personally, we have to do something. This has to be stopped. This has gone too far. The government here in Melbourne, they're just in Victoria, they're out of control. Clearly, no one else in Australia is doing this. I don't know of any other country in the world taxing electric cars in this way, at this level, right now. I think it's absolutely insane. And frankly, it absolutely is wrong and we have to stop it. I'm not usually this vocal, as you guys know. You know, I'm usually pretty positive. I'm positive about EVs, but frankly, I'm extremely disappointed right now, and something has to be done.